Mastering viewport navigation, that is, panning, orbiting, zooming, etc., and object manipulation, moving, rotating, scaling an object, is vital to 3D modeling. This video will show you the basics and the not-so-basics of viewing your 3D objects as well as how to manipulate them so that they behave the way you want. There are many shortcut keys and new concepts in this video. Take notes as you watch for reference while you work. If not already open, open your file from the last video. Save your file as Max Introduction First Initial Last Name 003. The 3D world we are creating is made up of three axes. When viewing the world from a front viewport, the x-axis goes from left to right and is represented in max by a red arrow. The y-axis goes forward and backward and is represented in max by a green arrow. The z-axis goes up and down and is represented in max by a blue arrow. Navigating in the 3D viewport begins with the view cube in the top right corner. This tool allows me to quickly set a different view such as front or top. Clicking the home icon will take you to the home view, a perspective view at the 000 coordinates. It's an easy way to orient yourself in the 3D world. To the left side of the viewport are several drop-downs. The plus sign has options for enabling and disabling viewport tools such as the view cube. Next to that is the viewport type, such as top, left, bottom, or right, as well as perspective and orthographic. Perspective simulates the real world and applies perspective to the scene. Orthographic displays the world in 2D. To the right are shading options such as wireframe or show edged faces. Click the home icon to reset the view. We will now explore the shortcut keys for changing the view into the 3D world. There are controls in the bottom right corner for doing this, but shortcut keys will help you work faster. Use the middle mouse button to pan the view. Alt middle mouse to rotate. Alt control middle mouse while moving the mouse to zoom. Scrolling the wheel will zoom as well, but it's not as smooth and moves in jumps. These are the basic controls. There are many more shortcuts to learn along the way. To maximize the active viewport, press Alt-W. In the Viewport Layout tab, I can choose from preset view layouts to have open in tabs to quickly switch between them. These take up RAM. The more you have open, the more memory you will want to have. Let's clean up our scene a little. Select multiple objects by holding the Control key and left-clicking the objects. Hitting Delete will delete the selected objects. In the toolbar, we have various selection tools. Select Object allows me to select an object but not move it. Select by Name shows a list of all objects in the scene. The Selection Region tools modify the shape and mode for marquee selections. A marquee selection is clicking and dragging to select objects. In crossing mode, just touching an object with the marquee will select it. In window mode, the object must be surrounded by the marquee to be selected. Pressing the Q key will cycle through the marquee styles: square, circle, fence, etc. Next are the main selection tools: Move, Rotate, and Scale. The shortcut keys for these are Q for Select, W for Move, E for Rotate, R for Scale. The last selection tool is Select in Place. This tool moves and orients an object to the face under the cursor, similar to AutoGrid. Let's look at these a little closer. The Select tool does not allow me to modify the object in the 3D viewport, only select it. When I select an object, information about that object is displayed in the Modify tab and at the bottom below the time slider. The Move tool gives me a widget that allows me to move the object in 3D space. By clicking on the colored handles, I can move the object on one axis at a time. Blue, the Z-axis, is up and down. Red, the X-axis, is left to right. Green, the Y-axis, is forward and backward. With this tool, the numbers below the time slider now represent the object's position in 3D space. The Rotation tool has a different widget but is basically the same. Click the solid line to rotate the object on that axis. With this tool, the numbers below the time slider now represent the object's rotation in 3D space. The Scale tool has a different widget, but again is basically the same. Click the solid line to scale the object on that axis. With this tool, the number below the time slider now represents the object's scale in 3D space. Always try to scale the object uniformly, as non-uniform scaling can cause problems when animating an object. The Select and Place tool lets me move and orient an object to any face in the scene interactively. All of these tools work off the object's pivot point. The pivot point's position in 3D space corresponds with the widget. The widget allows for movement in more than just the basic axes. Experiment by clicking in different parts of the widget and see how the object reacts. The snapping tools, they look like magnets, control if the movement, rotation, or scaling will be free or if it will snap to certain value or object. Click to activate or deactivate snapping. Right-click to bring up the Options menu. Right-clicking different areas of the interface will often bring up additional menus. Finally, it is important to note that there are various coordinate systems inside Max, and they will determine how the object orients itself. Two of these coordinate systems are the World Coordinate System, where 0, 0, 0 on the X, Y, and Z is the center of the 3D world, shown here as the intersection of two black lines. Position and rotation are measured in reference to that position and rotation. Local orientation measures the object's pivot point with it being 0, 0, 0. If I rotate the teapot on the Z-axis and try to pour out of it by rotating on the Y-axis in world coordinates, the teapot will not rotate properly. But if I switch to local coordinates, the X, Y, and Z now line up with the teapot and I can pour the tea.